In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process of creating a LinkedIn ad campaign from scratch. Every single step and setting you need to get right. My LinkedIn ads agency has managed over $20 million in LinkedIn ad spend with thousands of campaigns across every industry imaginable. Whether you've never run a LinkedIn ad before, or you have but you're not 100% sure you've set everything up correctly, this is the exact video you need. All right, here we are on LinkedIn. The first thing you're gonna do is come over and find advertise. Click on that. Now, if you don't have an ad account, you're just gonna click create account, give it a name. You'll connect it to your page, whichever company page that is, and you'll create the account. If you already have an account, you can just click into it. All right, so here we are in LinkedIn Ads Campaign Manager. We're gonna spend most of our time today in the advertise section where we'll create the campaigns and the ads. So click on advertise. Now, Campaign Manager is organized into 3 tabs up here. You have campaign groups, campaigns, and ads. So a campaign group is like a folder of campaigns. Those campaigns can have a similar objective and a similar budget. So we'll go to create and we'll first create a group. I'll just give this a name. The whole group can have its own objective. If you choose an objective, you can choose the run dates. You can also choose the budget, but I always like to manage the objective and the budget and all that stuff at the campaign level. So I'm going to turn this off and we'll just run continuously from a start date and click create. All right, now that we've got our new campaign group created, we'll just scroll down and find it. Here it is and click into it. Okay, so now we're inside that group. You can see over here it says one selected, right? So we're in this group, and now we can create campaigns to put in this group that will display here. So click create, campaign, and now we can choose our objective. Let's talk through the different objectives. LinkedIn has broken their different campaign objectives into 3 columns here. You can see there's awareness, consideration, and conversion to line up with the marketing funnel. Brand awareness is trying to get more impressions, trying to get people to see your ads more. Website visits is getting people to your website. Engagement is getting people to interact with your ad, to like it, to comment on it. Video views is getting people to see your videos. Lead generation is to generate leads so you can get the email address, phone number of people. And website conversions is to get people to convert on your website. If your goal is to generate leads, then I wouldn't make the mistake of just trying to send people to your website or getting people to convert on your website, unless they of course have to. But getting people to fill out a lead gen form, if you want to get their contact information, it's best to go with this objective. I typically wouldn't recommend brand awareness unless your goal is really just to get people to see your stuff. I'm getting fonder of engagement over time because you're not asking too much from people and you're seeing who's engaging with your ads and who's interested. Video is also really important these days. For our example here, let's go with lead generation. Now, LinkedIn, of course, is trying to work AI into their platform. I'm sure it'll be improving over time. But as I've tested it so far, it's been pretty ineffective and the campaigns and ads that it set up did not perform well at all. So I'm still using Classic. So now on the left here, you're going to see the order we're going to work through in terms of setting up the campaign and the ads. So first, we're just confirming that this is the right group. We'll click next. We can start by giving our campaign a name. I'll just call this new campaign. The objective we're going to choose is lead generation. And now we can set up our audience targeting. Let's talk through the different audience targeting options. So audience targeting is always going to start with the country we're in. We have to have at least one country listed here. And it's better to go with people who are permanent residents. So we can select that. And you'll notice on the right here that we start getting an estimate of the audience size. This is really important to keep an eye on. When we're building our audience, it's important that the audience size is big enough that we can actually reach people, but not too big that it's incredibly broad. Now, LinkedIn recommends a minimum audience size of at least 50,000 people, and there's a reason for this. Of the 50,000 people you're trying to reach, some of them might be only logging into LinkedIn once a week or once a month or less. So realistically, that 50,000 people might be 10,000, might be 5,000, might be a few thousand. You're also competing against other advertisers to show your ads to those people. And if you're trying to scale up your campaigns and spend more budget, you'll have a hard time doing it if the audience size is just too small. I've also run campaigns to 10,000 people, 20,000 people, even less. But if your audience sizes really start getting too small, you're going to have a harder time spending your budget and reaching people, and you're going to wind up paying more for the actions you want people to take. All right, let's come further down into the audience now. Now I have to highlight, this checkbox should always be turned off. In all my years and all the research and all the testing I've ever done, I've never seen or heard of this improving performance. And so always as a rule, keep audience expansion always turned off. Now we can start narrowing in on who we really want to start targeting. The first section here can be used if we're trying to retarget people or upload a list of people to target. But if we're using LinkedIn as a platform for targeting, we can start with job experience here. And a lot of people will want to think about different job titles that they want to target. So for example, it might be the CEO, it might be the CMO, it could be just about any job title you can think of. To remove them, we can click on these. But there's a lot more, and oftentimes I find it's better to start with seniorities. So in our case, we're going to start with anyone who's a C-level executive, VP, director level. We can include managers, partners, and owners. We don't want to include people who are unpaid or entry level, that sort of thing. So let's close this. And now we can see our audience size is down to 40 million, but this isn't targeted at all, right? Because this is any C-suite executive and any VP executive anywhere. So we want to target people who have a certain job function. And in this case, we want to target people who are in HR. And this should be an and statement. If that were to be an or statement, it would say anyone who's in HR or anyone who has these seniorities anywhere. But this is using logic so that we're using both of these attributes. Okay, they have that seniority and they're in human resources. And this is still 1 million people, way too big for us. We want to narrow down further. So let's find companies that are a little bit big enough, but not too big. Actually, maybe we want to say there are at least 50 employees up to 1,000. And again, we're getting this or here. We want to make sure that this is an and statement. Okay, so now we've got 3 different attributes here, and we're down to 300,000 people in our audience. All right, so let's narrow down further. We're going to narrow down by companies in certain industries. So we're looking for companies that are in tech. And LinkedIn's taxonomy of industries is not very helpful for us. They're pretty broad categories. There's subcategories and subcategories, but sometimes you can't really find what you're looking for. So in our case, we'll do a broad industry of technology. Make sure this is an and statement. And look, now our audience size got really small, 27,000. We're really getting too small here. So we also want to add professional services. So let's go ahead and find professional services. We will add that as well. And now we're back up to 93,000 people in our target audience. That's fantastic. We can also exclude certain attributes. So we might want to exclude companies that have a negative growth. We don't really want to be targeting those people. So now this brings our target audience size to be pretty good. It could be bigger if we want. It could be a little smaller, but I think this is good. This is who we want to target. So now that we've got a solid audience to target, let's move on to LinkedIn's ad formats. So LinkedIn has an array of a lot of different ad formats. There's images, videos, carousels. There's also thought leader ads, document ads, event ads, and the list goes on. There's message ads, conversation ads. I wanted to show you a few examples. This is an example of an image ad. It will show in the feed, and it's connected to a lead gen form. So when someone clicks on it, it pops up a lead gen form. And here's an example of a video ad, which also shows up in the feed. This one is also connected to a lead gen form. This is an example of a document ad. A document ad is a PDF that you upload, and you can scroll through the pages. And you can even lock some of them. So in order for someone to get the entire document, they'd have to put in their name and email address. And this one is an example of a conversation ad. A conversation ad shows up directly in your messages, and someone can choose if they want to move forward or not. Here's an example of a spotlight ad. You're probably used to seeing these on the right side. So there are a lot of different ad formats, but thankfully for us, we're just using a single image ad for this campaign. You can also add UTM parameters here. For placements, as a general rule, I always keep LinkedIn Audience Network turned off. I haven't seen improvement in performance, and from the research I've seen and done, it just doesn't improve performance. All right, let's move on to our daily budget. You can put in here whatever's the right amount for you. We're gonna run it continuously starting from when you're creating this campaign. Now for your bidding strategy, I want you to pay special attention here because I've seen companies hemorrhage tens of thousands of dollars needlessly by using the wrong approach. LinkedIn automatically sets your bidding strategy to maximum delivery. As a general rule, you almost never want to use maximum delivery because it will spend way more than you need to. For the most part, maximum delivery will overbid and you can pay as much as 4 to 5 times as much for clicks and impressions and whatever your goal is. To avoid this, we want to use manual bidding. So here we are in the bidding section, and you can see that LinkedIn has chosen maximum delivery as our default bidding strategy. We don't want LinkedIn to automatically set the bid for us because it will bid too high. We have to click down here to show the additional option for manual bidding. Now LinkedIn is automatically putting in this recommended bid, and they're giving us this big range, but actually we can bid a lot lower than this. So we might put a bid in down at maybe $8. Maybe we want to put a bid in at, I don't know, $10 or $12. It's sort of impossible to know what we should bid at, and we can just ignore these suggestions here. It's impossible to know what we should bid at until we start running the campaign and seeing if the ads are serving and spending the full daily budget that we want. If it's not spending the full daily budget after a few days, especially weekdays, because we don't want to benchmark on weekends, we could raise the bid. So maybe we raise it to $12. Maybe we raise it up to $15. But if it's spending the full budget, even at $10, maybe we drop it back down to $8 and maybe $7. You'd be surprised how low we can bid. Based on this audience size, I'm going to guess we should start at around, I think $12 will definitely spend the daily budget. And we can start lowering the daily budget over time. If we were using maximum delivery, you could see here the recommended bid is 27, but it might be even bidding higher for us. So we might be spending 3 times as much for these clicks. All right, and we don't need conversion tracking because we're going to be generating leads right in LinkedIn. Let's click next. Now it would be time to create the ads, but because we're running a lead generation objective, we first need our lead gen form. So let's go ahead and build that first. So to create our new lead gen form, we're going to go to Assets here, and under Assets, we see Lead Generation Forms. Click there, and then click the blue button to create form. The first thing we can do is give our form a name, so I'm just going to call this new form. And we can also upload an image to go in the background of the form, otherwise it will use the banner from your company page. So I'm going to upload that. And now you can see the preview here of what that will look like. And we're going to put in a headline. For our headline, I like to remind people that it's a free download, and we'll use the name of our lead magnet. So here they can download this guide. And for the form description, I like to add some copy that tells them really what the benefits will be and that they should download it. Now here, there's a lot of information that you can have someone put in the lead gen form. And they give you a nice preview over here. For email address, I would always replace this with work email address, because if someone has their work email address connected to their LinkedIn profile, then you would prefer their work email address. It can also be beneficial to also add their LinkedIn profile URL so that you can find them on LinkedIn and find other information about them. Now you can also add phone number, and adding the phone number might just make the leads a little bit more expensive. You might expect to pay maybe around 25% more per lead. So if you have a salesperson or someone who will be following up with them right away, go ahead and add it if it's valuable to you. Otherwise, you might just stick with only their work email address. You might also want to know which company they're at. So if you wanted to, you could add company name, and you might also want to know their job title. So we can add that as well. So all of this information will be pre-populated. So it shouldn't add too much friction, but the more you're asking for, the more reluctant someone might be to fill out this lead gen form. All right, we come down here to the privacy policy. So you just need to paste in the privacy policy from your website. You can leave this blank because if you enter information here, it will just add more stuff to your form. And, generally I think less is better, less for people to think about, less friction there. Now, after they've submitted the form, I like to have a message like this, where it's basically telling them, hey, click the link below to download your ebook now. In our case, it's going to be download now. Now let's put in the link for where they can actually download the PDF. This could be the actual PDF file itself. And here's a preview of what it will look like after they submit the lead form. So they can click download now to get the ebook. We'll save this. Now that our lead gen form is ready, let's go back over to the campaign and we'll create the ads. So we have to find the group that we made, and we'll find the campaign that we made, and we'll go back to edit and launch. And here we are going to create new ads. So we can give this ad a name. We can just call it ad 1. And look, here we can put in the lead gen form. So here's our new form, and here's a preview of what it'll look like. Let's expand down here the ad, and here's where we can put in the copy. All right, so here's where we'll put in the copy that's going to go above the image that we're going to use. And here's the URL that it would send someone to. If we were not using a lead gen form, it would take them right to here. But in this case, since we're using a lead gen form, this is if someone shares the ad to someone else and they click on it, it would take them straight to the ebook. All right, let's upload our image of the ad. So here's the image. Note that you can create 5 ads at once by uploading 5 images, and then LinkedIn will create 5 different ads with all those images. In this case, we're just going to do 1. And when you scroll down here to headline, it's a little misleading that it's called headline. It's kind of at the bottom here. But this is what someone will click on. And it's really helpful to indicate to people that this is a download or a free download, or to tell them a little bit more of what this thing is. You can leave description blank. And in our case, the call to action is going to be download. All right, the ad looks ready. We'll click save. All right, and now we're in the section where we can see the ads. So if there was multiple ads, they would list out here. We can click on these dots and get a good preview by clicking on Show and Feed. And now we can see what the ad will look like. It's just like we saw, the copies at the top. There's the headline, there's the download button, and if you click on it, it opens up our lead gen form that we connected to it. And when someone submits the form, their information will go right into LinkedIn Ads, and we can integrate that right into our CRM. Okay, the ad's ready. In most cases, we'd want to run at least 3 to 5 variations, but 1 is fine for now. And now we have a final opportunity to review everything. So we can look at our targeting, we can look at the ad we're going to run, the bid amount, the budget. We'll click this button to launch the ads, and we're good to go.